Hello, and good morning. I am so thrilled to be here with you today for another live stream where I'm sharing with you the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make, including very experienced entrepreneurs who have been in the game, they've had their business, maybe even created a level of success, but continue to make this mistake. I want you to pay attention to this because it's going to radically shift your business if this is something that you're currently doing. And you want to be able to implement this in your business because it will change the game. Okay. Hi, I'm Hannah Fitz. For those of you meeting me for the first time, I'm the founder of the brand atelier at hannahfitz.com and The Cultured Life. I am an international brand strategist. I help experts and entrepreneurs build world-class brands and lifestyle for freedom. We focus on luxury brands because to us, luxury is all about building excellent brands. That is what luxury represents, a level of excellence. And so if that's what you're up to in the world, building brands that are excellent in the world, that create excellent results for your clients, then you definitely want to check out our atelier at www.hannahfitz.com for more information. We also have a global brand academy that helps entrepreneurs build your brand and set you up for success in the online world to be able to attract your ideal clients. So let's dive right into this one thing that I see even established entrepreneurs do. And it really came about, the idea for this live stream today came about from two conversations that I had with two different clients. One is a potential client and one is currently in my program. And I asked about, well, what is your revenue goal? And when I asked that question, both persons sort of gave an answer like, I want it to be as big as possible, or I want to attract as many people as possible. That is not a goal. Now, I get that sometimes, especially in the personal development space, that you have heard that the universe, like everything is possible in the universe, and you don't want to limit the universe on what is possible for you to create. But the way the universe works is really with our decision. Like if you want to go on a trip and you just say, universe, I want to go on a trip. Of course, yes, the universe will surprise you. You might end up somewhere, but where is it where you want to be? Who knows? And when a person says that I want it to be as big as possible, for every person, big is different. I work with all kinds of clients. For one client, making $50,000 a year is a big goal. For another client, making $250,000 a year is a big goal. For another one, $10 million a year is the big goal. So you really want to get clear on your numbers. Knowing your numbers is critical to success, and it's critical to shifting the energy of your business. Because when you have a particular intention that is a concrete intention, the universe can bring in the pieces of magic to help you create it in ways that maybe you would not have ordinarily thought about, or present opportunities for you to achieve it in ways that maybe were not available before. But with clarity, like you cannot create a strategy for your brand when you don't know your numbers. A lot of entrepreneurs, they don't know how much money they have in the bank, how much they have made in revenue for the year, or up to a certain period of the year. They're not in touch with those numbers. You just sort of like winging it and afraid to look at your numbers. And I have to tell you that sometimes, when you're afraid to look at the numbers, what you're basically saying is that this is not something I care about. And when you become intimate with your numbers, numbers are so powerful. It's not a reflection of how successful or how much of a failure you are. It's just an indication. It gives you a picture of what's going on right now. And it gives you access to now ask the question of what strategy is required to outbid it. But you need to have a place to land, right? So of course, if you make more than you expected, bravo. But have a specific number, like what is your annual revenue goal this year? Or what is your, like what is my goal this month that will take me closer to achieving my overall annual revenue goal? Knowing your numbers is so important to business success. Knowing how much you have going in, how much you have going out. Being intimately connected to those numbers will give you access to information required to implement certain strategies and to know what decisions you need to make next. Now, the numbers aren't supposed to tell you that, oh, you know, I don't have enough, like you might say, I don't have enough in my bank account, and it tells you that I can't hire a coach. Like, that's not what the number is supposed to do. The number is supposed to tell you something like, maybe, okay, you don't have enough in your account, in the business account to invest. Well, maybe it's time that you leverage financing. Because obviously, if you believe in your business enough and you're trying to get somewhere, sometimes you need a bridge, okay? That's just how it works. I know when I first started my online business, I needed that bridge, and financing allowed me to do that, right? So I want to encourage you to become intimate with your numbers. Don't like create airy-fairy goals. Create concrete goals that when you arrive there, you can look and see, did I achieve it or not, and by what margin? Because without that, you are not setting yourself up for success. You don't have the information to understand, oh, I missed my goal by 5%, or I missed my goal by 10%. You had no goal. No concrete number means no goal. You might as well not have a goal because you don't know where you're going. And you're living in some kind of ethereal realm of not really creating anything concrete. So what you really want to do is to sit down and be very specific. The system of SMART goals was created for a reason, because it actually works. When a goal, it allows you to measure what is happening in reality. So when a goal, a SMART stands for specific. When it's specific, what is the number? When it's measurable, so the goal is 100,000. Now I achieved, like you went out and you sold 80,000. Now you can measure based on the goal of 100,000. This is what I achieved. And now you have margins to calculate. Oh, I only achieved 20% of the goal or 80% of the goal. So what do I have to do next to get to that other 20%? Now that the numbers give you access to information and a strategic place for you to work through. So you have specific, measurable, attainable. So again, attainable does not mean like the traditional, what you might call being realistic. It means like, what are you willing to do to achieve that, to attain that? Because if you're not willing to invest in your business or to invest in the level of advertising or the consulting or coaching support that you need or whatever it is, then you're basically making that goal unattainable. If you're unwilling to take the action required to make the goal a reality, then it is unattainable. So attainable is really a subjective word, because what is attainable for you may not be attainable for another person. And it all comes down to what are you willing to do to achieve that goal. It's the same with realistic. Realistic can be very subjective, but you have to look at what are the resources that I have? What are the resources that I need? And can I bridge that gap to achieve the goal? So you have to sit down. It's a really strategic process. And a lot of people don't take the time to approach their business goals and numbers strategically. Like if you are here, that's what realistic is. You are here. You want to get over there. There is a gap. What is required to build that bridge? And again, are you willing or are you able to access the resources to bridge that? If the bridge is going to be too wide, like there's some places, the distance is just too wide for you to build a bridge, right? So maybe it's not about building a bridge. Maybe you need an aircraft. You know, you can't drive to go there. You have to fly there. Some destinations are like that, right? It's the same with your goals. Like realistically, how can you achieve this? So that's where you actually test for reality. What is the mechanism that will allow you to either build a bridge or fly over to the next point that you want to get to? If the distance is too far for you at this point in time, then what realistic means is that I probably need to create a shorter distance for me to travel to. because it's too much of a long distance. I don't have enough equipment or enough tools right now to make that big trip, or it's just going to impact my health in a way that I'm not available for. I want you to really see it from that perspective, as if you're planning a trip, right? Because a goal is literally a journey, the journey to getting to your goal. So maybe you might want to say, okay, if you're flying to Shanghai, then maybe along the way, you're going to stop off in Dubai or in some other destination first. Then when you get to Dubai, you take another flight straight to Shanghai. So that is what being realistic is. Maybe sometimes that's why airlines break up the trip, because they're realistic. Like, okay, maybe we can't make a nonstop flight with this aircraft, but we can make a stop, refuel, reset, and then take off again. So that is what being realistic in the SMART goals mean. Okay, and the T stands for timeline. Now, again, in the personal, especially people in the personal development space, I hear them say that, like, I don't want to put a time on it. Well, time is arbitrary, yes and no. Time actually gives you something to work towards. So if you know your birthday is on the 24th of June, well, then you can say, okay, I have, depending on what point in time we are in the year, I have 6 months to prepare for my birthday, or I have 2 months to prepare for my birthday. It gives you information to work with so that you can begin to create specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic plans for that time. What the personal development space invites you to when they say, like, don't set a time because everything in divine timing sort of thing, is that you are open to a possibility that you do not see now. Because maybe in your version of realistic, you can only accomplish this in 2 years. But say you decided to get into a coaching program, or maybe you met a business partner along the way, and suddenly things start to take off faster. But if you're close to that and you're only thinking of your way and your plan, then you will probably only achieve it in the timeline that you thought, as opposed to being open that, yes, this is a time I'm working towards, but I'm open to this happening faster. I'm open to access resources, insights, people, and circumstances that allow me to achieve this faster. So that is where you energetically, like, you know the timeline, but you're not like hard and fast holding on to it. You're open. Okay. But no matter what, in your business, numbers are what are going to make the difference for your success. Whether it is knowing the numbers of what your specific goals are in terms of financial goals for your business for the year and monthly, and then turning that into weekly goals as well. And also looking at numbers in terms of numbers like, what is the cost of acquisition of your customers per customer? Like, how much do you need to spend to acquire one client? Okay, looking at, your conversion rates. How many people do you need to speak to on a call before you convert one client? So how many people do you actually have calls with so that you can convert the number of clients that you actually want to have in your program? All of these numbers are important numbers that you need to be looking at. And one of the things that I created that I share with my private clients, we have something called the Success Planner. And that looks at both your numbers in terms of what your financial goals are by month, and the corresponding campaign and content that will allow you, and marketing strategies that will allow you to accomplish that. And I encourage my clients, and for myself, I have it as well. Like, I go in every month, every week, and I look at those numbers and I look at, okay, what needs to be adjusted this week? What needs to happen for me to start breaking through on those goals that I've set up for myself? But without that, you don't have a guide. You're just shooting into the blue and taking action with no purpose. And what you want is that all your actions are purposeful. So I hope that this was enlightening for you and that you begin to develop an intimate relationship with your numbers. I know it's the boring part for a lot of people around business. If you don't like it, have an accountant or a bookkeeper by your side who can give you reports on a monthly or even weekly basis to guide you. If not, it's part of the process. And when you fall in love with the fact that, okay, this is like boring, but I can actually love the aspect of knowing where I'm going. Like if you can see it from that perspective, it's going to shift the game. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always,